Hey everyone, this is the Canadian Libertarian, and I'm going to start doing things a little bit different now because there's so much information, so much propaganda, so many narratives put forth that trying to cover each individual topic or subject in its own particular video, it's really difficult to try to do and try to keep on top of everything. So what I'm going to do is the ones that I find profoundly important. I'm going to still stick to, picking that as a key subject and making the emphasis of the video on that particular topic. But what I'm going to start doing today is Next Gen News and Views, which is the other page that I have on Facebook, in addition to the Canadian Libertarian. But I'm going to go through a whole string of articles, kind of like a daily or weekly or bi-weekly or however I'm not sure how I'm going to set up, how often I'm going to make it, but where we just cover a plethora of news articles, headlines from, the tabloid or sensational type fake news outlets, aka the establishment media, so that we can counteract their bullshit, present their stories, give a narrative that counters the bullshit they try to put forth, and cover all kinds of topics, right? Kill many birds with one stone, so to speak. First one, this is from, it was the current Anna Maria Tremonti from CBC Radio discussion. I actually found this discussion quite interesting. It was very interesting, actually. And the Yale professor, a psychology professor that she was talking to, he put forth some pretty good points, actually. They were pertinent, made objective sense. The problem is you can never fall on, like I say, it's this whole extreme thing that I'm always concerned with. So right, left, right, as far as politics, run to each other's corner. There's no semblance of understanding in the middle. That's the problem, right? Because if you have to live in a world where there's all kinds of different extremes, the only way we're all ever going to function properly is if the rules are set out where we recognize and respect each other, right? That's the only way it's going to work. The minute you try to move the goalposts around to suit a particular group or, sub-segment of society, that's where you're always going to find the problems. Same with this. When this Yale psychology professor says too much emotion leads to bad moral decisions. So it's all about empathy, how empathy is a bad thing, right? Against empathy is what I believe his book is called. Yeah, Paul Bloom. So, against empathy. Yep, psychology professor says too much emotion leads to bad moral decisions. And I mean, like I said, if you listen to it, and I'll put a link to this particular one in the description of the video. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put all of them in there. This might be the difficult part, but like I say, usually it's Canadian media outlets, so as a generalized statement, whether it's the National Post, the Financial Post, CBC, the Globe and Mail, like the Canadian establishment, chances are that's, unless I state otherwise, those are the outlets that I'll be covering mostly and talking against. Anyways, when we talk about empathy, and I would agree, but I've even heard this put forth by other philosophical type minds, but we always have to understand that it's always about a proper balance. When you're talking about empathy and using logic, so the heart and the mind, right? One should never trump the other one, pardon the pun. It should always, and it's a continually, like I say, it's a continuously moving scale, and where you are on that scale, because it depends on the circumstance. So a perfect example of that, what I like to use, and I've used in prior and past comments that talk about this stuff, is, okay, yes, logic, if we use pure logic instead of empathy, so if there's a train barreling down the tracks and the train is coming to a junction point where, there's a Y, so the train can go right or left. Three people are right and left. So three people that are on the right are tied to the rails, and there's only one person on the left tied to the rail. Logic would tell you, well, you sacrifice the one to benefit the three. There's no point in killing three people when you can have the choice of only having one person die. And that does make logically consistent sense. Except, and here's the thing, there are always going to be exceptions. And when you come to these exceptions, when you're talking moral or logic, it's always going to be subjective. And to pretend that other people are going to use pure objective reasoning in those subjective circumstances, which is why you can't have a central planning entity, which is why free market of ideas and allowing people to be themselves and to make decisions based on their own personal observations and best interests, that's the way it's just going to have to be. So think about it. So 3 to 1. Logic says allow the one person to die to save the 3. Except, and most people will own up, I mean, very few people will you ever hear ask them this question. What if that one person was their daughter, their son, their father, their mother, right? What if that's the case? Then the scenario changes, right? Then logic is no longer the most important aspect in that decision, in that equation. Now, that one matters more to you than the 3 strangers, obviously. And I mean, I'll tell you right now, if it was me, if all 4 were complete strangers and I didn't have any time to try to, go through that, well, how productive is the, unless I could come to a logically deduced conclusion, in the spur of the moment, my instant reaction is going to be, it's better the one to die instead of 3. But like I said, if the situation were reversed, where the one was my son and the 3 were complete strangers, as terribly as I would feel and wouldn't want anything to happen to those 3 strangers, but if there's only 2 possible outcomes, yeah, I'm picking my son. I'm saving my son. Now, people might want to say that I'm immoral or not using pure logic for that reason, but like I said, every human being, our brains function in that kind of a manner. Unless, like I said, you'd have to be really weird or some. Would you want to be the son or the child or the father or the mother of someone that would put 3 strangers above you, right? Not really, right? So this is what it comes down to. Forget about this against empathy and forget about this Yale psychology professor. Like I said, everything is that. Yes, logic should be what we guide most of our decisions on. But to deny the heart, to deny the reality of humans being compassionate, having empathy, and caring more about their tribe, their family members, to pretend otherwise is a joke, because we know that's not the reality. It's always got to be reality over rhetoric. Now, moving on. Oh, here's this one. CBC News Business, listen to this one. Just starting out, consider these tips to get your finances in order. Financial priorities are personal, but some tips can apply to everyone. But listen to this from Jacqueline Hansen, a senior business reporter for CBC. Senior. 3 a.m. anxiety. These are the 5, right? It's too early. It's too easy to fall into the trap of making your minimum payments every month. It doesn't mean you're on track. It just means you're breaking even, Simone says. While appearing societal pressure to live well, drive a nice car, and eat Instagram-worthy meals can make paying down the debt difficult. The alternative could be much worse. Spiraling into debt actually causes more anxiety, but it's hidden anxiety. It's like 3 a.m. anxiety. So watch the credit card balance and take it seriously. Okay. Next one is keep drinking your lattes. So even though you might be able to make decisions of instead of drinking your lattes, well, no, cutting back spending to cut down debt can be a tough slog, but within the allotment of spending money you do have, Simon says make sure you spend it on what's important to you. If you want to buy lattes and tech toys, something so-called millennials are oft scolded for, go ahead. If you got $1,000 a month to blow to zero every month, why do we care if it goes to groceries or going out to dinner or buying lunch out? As long as it's within what you can afford, who cares, someone says. So bad idea, right? No long-term thinking there, just instant gratification. This is what these fucking people are trying to tell. This is, like I said, you want to know why the world is what it is today? Listen to the kind of things that's being espoused to them by the establishment media. Adjusting expectations is a buzzkill. Simmons talked about the shock and disappointment that can come with setting goals that correspond to certain milestones, like turn 30, that don't pan out. Our expectations need to adjust if our incomes aren't going to do what we need to do them. And that's a buzzkill. Nobody wants to hear that, someone says. But remember that the dream of home ownership isn't for everyone. But some millennials have bucked the trend of buying a home entirely, opting to rent and save instead. Here's the next one. Consider renting for life. So, if the housing market's out of your price range, then don't try to help fix things or correct things or talk to the people that are causing it to be that or going against the people that are causing that. Yeah, just rent for the rest of your life. Like I said, maybe I will try in this one posting a link to these articles. Because it's fucking, like I say, it's disgusting. But like I say, this is the kind of stuff that the CBC and the established media propagandists and outlets are putting forth. What's the last one? Oh, that was the last one. So, consider renting for life. Adjusting expectations is a buzzkill. Keep drinking your lattes. 3 a.m. anxiety, blah, blah. Next. Listen to this on Canada. Ron McLean. Yeah, welcome to the PC world, Ron. Careful out there. Ron McLean apologized to postal workers after Hockey Night in Canada remarks. So, you know what he say? Oh, how controversial. Hockey Night in Canada host Ron McLean has apologized to postal workers after suggesting that their jobs were effectively obsolete. We all know this to be true. Anyone that's using, and like I say, we can be compassionate to the people that will lose their jobs, but just like the people in the private sector, it's terrible that just like, and I've used the analogy back before when there were people that were employed to pick up shit for horses during the horse and buggy era. I'm sorry that they no longer are gainfully employed. But I'm very thankful for the fact that we don't have to smell fucking horse shit everywhere we go when we drive down the roads, right? So, come on. The disparaging remark was not really disparaging in the way they're putting forth. It's just owning up and accepting that, just like people in the private sector, we all have to adapt to the new realities that we live in. That's just fact, but Ron's like, but I need my job, and we got the social justice warriors, the feminazis, and he knows who's got the power right now, especially in Canada. The rest of the world, well, not the rest of the world, but a lot of it, especially now the UK and the US, well, they're feeling more emboldened they can stand up against these SJWs, these feminazis, these control freaks, sociopaths. But in Canada, yeah, we haven't reached that point. We got shiny pony boy, fucking self-admitted feminist. I mean, yeah, in Canada, sorry. We still have people that are scared to death to speak out. I'm not. I don't give a fuck what any of those losers say or try to do to me. I speak out anyways, but I am a rare exception, as you see. Next. This is an opinion piece, mind you. CBC once again. And this is by Ramona Pringle. Poor Ramona. This year, we'll need a little space from our smartphones. So lefties are going to need a little safe space from their smartphones. Why? Because I guess over the holidays, their family members put them in their place, the ones that are, I guess, right-wing or against the progressive movement, against full-on collective and forced subjugation. I guess they probably put them in their place, right? So the rose-colored glasses are coming off. We need some time apart. Yeah. Like I say, she was probably fucking, Christmas or the holidays probably wasn't so good for this poor Ramona Pringle or for the social justice warrior feminazis that realized that, no one's listening to you fucks anymore. And matter of fact, their tongues are waiting to lash out at you. So now this whole thing, like I said, I'm not even going to read this because this is just propaganda, but it's the CBC, so whatever. It's an opinion piece. But she basically goes on to say, you're going to have to remove yourself from social media and smartphones and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. Even at the workplace, which I would agree on. Yeah. That's another thing. When you talk about workplaces, it's you fucking leftists that are foolish enough to keep going with this. Let me tell you, every job I've ever had, the minute I get off, if my job ends at 5 o'clock, if my boss even called me at 5:30, I say, what the fuck? Am I on the clock? No. Okay, fuck off. See you tomorrow. That's the way it works in my world. The construction, the trucking, every industry I've ever been in, and it's predominantly men, but we acknowledge to each other. It's kind of like an unwritten rule. Yeah, don't fuck with me. When I'm off work, don't even think you're going to fuck with me. Now, you people in the government/corporate world, which is now just crony corporate, yeah, your masters want to rule you, dictate, and control you, even when you're off the clock. You're the fucking fools that are willing to go along. So that's the one thing I'll agree with Ramona Pringle. Yeah. Grow a set. Stand up to them. When work's over, whatever time work's over, You don't even have to turn off your phone. Just don't answer the fucking idiots. Right? Say, hey, see you tomorrow when I'm on the clock. Till then, drift. And listen to this one. This is going to be the last one I'm going to cover in this particular one, right? Because what are we at, 15 minutes now? Yeah, I don't want to go too far. My first video doing this kind of a setup. I might have done it once or twice before, but not in this particular exact kind of setup. But anyways, students demand Plato, Descartes, and other white philosophers be dropped from curriculum. And this is Camilla Turner from the Telegraph, but reporting on this. They are said to be the founding fathers of Western philosophy, whose ideas underpin civilized society. But students at a prestigious London university are demanding that such figures as Plato, Descartes, and Immanuel Kant be largely dropped from the curriculum because they are white. The School of Oriental and African Studies, SOAS, student union is insisting that when studying philosophy, the majority of philosophers in our course should be from Africa and Asia. Like, even there actually kind of does a little bit make sense, I guess. If it is a School of Oriental and African Studies, that does kind of make sense to me, actually. So, a little weird there, but I know it's government rules, so I guess you got to have the all around encompassing. But like I said, if you're studying philosophy, first of all, there should never be, if you're going to study philosophy, then cover philosophy in its entirety from the basis. But the fact that these schools offer these fucking stupid ass courses where you just, like I say, it's political, and these are political courses is what they are. These are politics. These are telling people how to learn about politics. Because picking a particular geographical landmass and the kind of philosophy or politics that was involved in it literally denies the fact that there are other methods of implementation and critical thinkers that opposed their particular opponent's philosophy. So a well-rounded person is one that knows and has the culmination of all that knowledge and can discern and disseminate what's more logically consistent, fact-based, and proper as far as empathy, compassion, and morality for the masses. To pretend that you can just skirt that line, like I said, the divide and conquer, yeah, this trying to put everyone into these little subgroups, this identity politics, well, once again, look what you're doing to the minds of the people that are going to be some of them may very well be the leaders in the future. We got to do better than this, people. No, not we. You need to do better than this. I do much better. I don't put forth this kind of bullshit. I talk about being logically consistent. I don't give a shit what your race, creed, culture, or background is. The Skinny Libertarian for the next gen news and views. And I love liberty.